Alright guys, welcome back to Male Choices. Today we're exposing the truth about why men are checking out of the dating game. It's not what society wants you to think. If you're tired of the double standards and ready to hear what's really going on, smash that like, hit subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell for more real talk. Let's jump right in.
You should not sleep with a man who cannot provide for you financially. That statement's gonna ruffle so many feathers. It's most often met with two different types of responses. One is likening women to SWs.
Not women in general, just the women who sell their box for money.
If they expect any kind of reciprocity when it comes to a relationship or any kind of proof of funds when it comes to potentially engaging with a man's.
And we have a word for a woman like that.
Yes, she's a hoe!
Bruh.
Mind you that nowadays engaging with a man's sex could result in an unwanted pregnancy, and that unwanted pregnancy could result in a child growing up in a broken home, in a broken system, in an impoverished life.
Yes, because back in 1245, a woman's uterus had a built-in off switch, but nowadays, the evil patriarchy did some techno voodoo magic and removed the off switch from all the uteruses. Kinda like how they removed the headphone jack from all the new smartphones. But on a serious note, sweetie, unwanted pregnancy was actually a thing before nowadays, because nowadays, women have the ultimate solution against an unwanted pregnancy. So, your argument is invalid.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said.
Do you ever notice how women get downright hostile when a man does something that doesn't revolve around feeding their ego? These are the same women who have been telling us for years to leave them alone, stop approaching them, and stop giving them attention. Some of them might have genuinely meant it, but let's be real, most didn't think about what that actually looks like in practice. They didn't realize that when men finally stopped bothering them, it didn't just mean no more harassment. It meant no one would be there to boost them up, put them on a pedestal, or make them feel special anymore. Now they're facing the reality they asked for, and it's not the fantasy they imagined.
Dating is the worst it has ever been. Men and women are being pitted against one another. Both sides are losing and becoming very bitter. I personally have not seen anyone helping disenfranchised men learn how to communicate and relate to women. Being told 3,000 times that you need to find someone to be submissive to you is not helping you. I used to be a feminist before I saw the effects of third wave feminism. Men are isolated and they're terrified of pursuing a woman. And this has forced women into masculine roles where they are pursuing men. I think everyone can agree that this is not natural. And it seems that there are more and more people not starting a family. We need to focus on creating proper communication between men and women. We don't want men walking on eggshells and women.
Another woman just shocked the world with her mindset, and honestly, it's nothing new. We've seen this over and over again. Magazine articles aimed at the boss babe type who claim there are no good men left. These are the same women lamenting that they can't find decent guys, yet they're the ones obsessed with looking like magazine cover models, wanting that perfect image of success. Here's the real truth. Women, by nature, are hypergamous, always searching for the bigger, better deal. They're constantly looking for an upgrade, something better than what they currently have. That's the game they play, always on the hunt for a bigger paycheck, a better lifestyle, or a more successful man. Hypergamy drives their choices, and it's why so many of them are stuck in this mindset of always wanting more, never satisfied with what's in front of them. It's the same cycle over and over again, and they act surprised when they can't find the good guys they claim to be looking for.
Hinduism, divorce rate, 1%. The reason why Westerners suck at marriage, namely women, is because they're basing the backbone of their relationships on feelings.
Yeah.
And feelings are a fleeting thing.
Yeah.
Feelings do not stay. It's changing and it's coming and going. And if you're a person who lives your life based upon your feelings only, you're going to have an awful...
More people get married each year than get divorced, but all we ever hear about are the divorces. The stats you always hear about, like half of all marriages end in divorce, only apply to first marriages. Half of those do fail, but when it comes to second and third marriages, the failure rate is even higher. The reality is, marriages that end tell us when and how couples decide to call it quits, but it's clear that as people go through multiple marriages, their chances of success drop dramatically.
I have been so hesitant to post about this for two reasons. Number one, I don't like negativity and I don't want to be like the bearer of bad news. Number two, I didn't want to believe it. But after doing so much research and getting a lot of messages, I'm going to just deliver the unvarnished truth to you guys. We're just going to lay it out straight. We're in a dating crisis. Not basically, we are. That's what's happening. So let me look at my research here because I don't want to mess it up. So men looking for casual dates and our relationships is down 50%, 50, since 2019. Not since 1970, since 2019, right before the pandemic, down 50%. They're not fucking looking, which means if you're a woman looking, they don't fucking give a shit. So as this trend continues, by 2040, 45% of women, 45% of women between the ages of 20 and 45 will be single and childless based on this trend. Let that sink in for a moment. I'm going to talk a lot more about this, so if you're interested in this topic, hit the follow button because I've got a lot more of information.
I don't want people being stuck single. Women are the most depressed demographic in America right now is 45 and over single women. So I don't want a bunch of women to end up 45 plus single and fucking wondering why. Why am I 45 plus single? You know, I've been happy this whole time. I've been going on these vacations and having sex with all these guys. Why the fuck did I lose? I did everything right. I did what feminism and what all my girlfriends told me to do, and I'm sad now. So I like to do this show because I want to show y'all there is a whole other side of things. Feminism does lie to you. Your homegirls are lying to you to try to keep you single because misery loves company. Like I just want y'all to know the truth. And what men really...
Here's the truth. A lot of women today are raised to think the world owes them everything they dream of. No effort required. They buy into this woke feminist narrative, telling themselves they don't need a man. They can do it all on their own. But then reality hits. Mid-30s roll around, desperation kicks in, and suddenly they're mad that no man wants to be anywhere near them. The average woman wants the whole package. Tall, handsome, rich, attractive. But they're not working on themselves. They don't bother developing their personality or their character. And guess what? What's inside always shows on the outside. You end up with an entitled, ungrateful person who expects a man to bow down and fulfill her every wish for life. But men aren't playing that game anymore. They see right through it.
A man who sleeps with 200 women is the man, but a woman who sleeps with 200 men is worthless.
It's called a misogynist.
Men sleep with who they can, for the most part, and women sleep with who they want to. That is the truth. So if a woman goes and sleeps with 200 men, that means that she wanted to, and that she just opened her legs and let it happen. I know this is where we kind of disagree, but that is the truth. If a man sleeps with 200 people, he has to earn it to sleep with 200 people.
We didn't disagree on that. I just don't hear you saying things so crap.
The modern, attractive woman of today is out of reach for most men. Every time you watch a movie, whether it's new or old, the lead character is either the most attractive woman or man. Perfect, flawless, and always upholding justice. These characters are set on a pedestal, creating an illusion of what people should aspire to be, but in truth, that ideal is unattainable for the average person. The typical modern woman has become this untouchable fantasy, influenced by media, where beauty and perfection seem to be the only things that matter, making it impossible for most men to feel like they even stand a chance.
Caleb, would you pick me in a room full of women?
Yeah.
Okay, but why are you in a room full of women?
I don't know.
What?
He looks so guilty, and he's done nothing.
It's a trap.
This is why men lose their hair, because they are so stressed about the things that women put them through. Somebody said his whole life flashed before him. Somebody else said bro was set up. There was no way to win that, no matter what he said.
Men are straightforward creatures, clear about who they are and what they want. They follow the natural order, unlike women who often overlook the reason behind their own physical and emotional traits. Women are more emotionally driven for a reason, yet many spend their 30s chasing the corporate dream under the guise of empowerment. Then reality hits in their 40s when the men they desire no longer want them. At that point, they face a choice: lower their standards or keep playing the empowerment game. But let's be real, empowerment won't change biology or how the dating market works.
Men should never hit a woman.
Why not?
That's just...
Why?
Why should a man hit a woman?
To protect himself.
Oh man, this is a lot.
What do you mean?
I just disagree with your viewpoints.
Why?
That you think a man should hit a woman?
Should a woman hit him? Yes, I do.
I don't think violence is the answer to anything.
No, in protection, he's self-defense. Let's say a woman, he shouldn't just go around hitting her just for no reason.
Yeah.
But let's say that, should women hit men?
No.
Right. So if a woman should hit a man, shouldn't he smack her back?
No.
Why not?
Because she's a girl.
Well, she doesn't know that?
Here's the deal. Men are walking away from dating and relationships because they've wised up to the game. They know once they're locked into marriage, it's only a matter of time before things go sideways. Accusations, court battles, and lifetime payments loom over their heads like a ticking time bomb. Why would any man want to sign up for that? It's a rigged system where men are constantly at risk, and let's not forget, if a woman decides to file a false complaint, society almost always sides with her. It's just how things work today, and men see right through it. Now women, especially those climbing the corporate ladder, are in for a wake-up call. You've got your money, your house, your fancy car, and you're only dating up or across, right? But here's what you're missing. Men don't care about all that. They're not impressed by degrees, jobs, or how much you've got in the bank. They're wired to be attracted to youth, fertility, and natural beauty, and no amount of social conditioning will change that. The universal laws of attraction can't be rewritten just because someone wants them to be. Men are providers and protectors, and women at their core are nurturers and caregivers. But the modern woman who's been living it up in her 20s, thinking the world is her playground, is in for a harsh reality. By the time she hits her 30s and 40s, she realizes she missed her shot. The men she now wants to settle down with aren't interested because they can get what they want from younger women. It's simple. Women should lock down a solid man when they're young because youth and beauty won't last forever. If they wait too long, by the time they want to start a family, it might be too late. Men aren't going to wait around for someone who overlooked them in their prime. Women who spend their 20s chasing casual flings will regret it when they're older and realize the window of opportunity has closed.
A lot of the jobs that young men used to have as on-ramps into the middle class were generally industries that over-index male, manufacturing, frontline work. Those jobs have been outsourced overseas. In addition, once we leveled the playing field academically, women just blew by men. Women are more mature, they're more disciplined, they're better at delaying gratification. And over the next 5 years, we're going to have 2 women graduate from college from every 1 man. So what we have is an entire cohort of what I call emotionally and economically unviable men. And so women are leveling up, and it's great, but they're not interested in the men our society is producing right now. And the most violent, unstable societies in the world all have too many of the same thing, and that is a broke and lonely young man. And we are...
In today's world, men are expected to pay up front just to even get a woman's attention, and that alone carries a massive risk. Think about it. You put in all the time, effort, and resources, but at any moment the whole thing can go south. And then, when the relationship does fall apart, guess what? You're hit with even more costs just to get out of it. The man pays at the beginning and gets sold out at the end. That's how it works now. It's no wonder men aren't engaging anymore. Why would they? They see the trap for what it is, a losing game from start to finish, and yet women sit there and wonder why men are opting out entirely. The answer's right in front of them.
The number of young single men in America is at a record high. This is why.
It's because of dating apps.
So it might not actually be just dating apps. Let's talk about it. The Pew Research Center found that 60% of men below the age of 30 say they're single. And for context, only 30% of women in that same age range say that they're single. Psychology Today actually wrote an article about this. They did a bunch of interviews with experts, and there's a few reasons why so many young men are single. One of the big things is the pandemic. During the pandemic, a lot of younger women refocused their priorities. They focused more on education, career, and finances. And they basically deprioritized dating. And because of this, the theory goes that some men have had a hard time finding women to date. However, there's another theory that younger men just don't want to compete in the dating world. And instead, they're getting a lot of their needs from the internet. I've actually met a lot of young people who don't want to date, and I want to know, have you noticed this pattern? Let me know in the comments.
More than 60% of young men in America are single, which is nearly twice the rate of unattached young women, pointing to a breakdown in the social, romantic, and sexual life of American men. This trend is particularly prevalent among men in their 20s who are more likely to be romantically involved, sexually dormant, friendless.
Young men aren't avoiding relationships due to lack of desire, but because 80% of women believe they're too good for most men and chase the top 20% of attractive guys. These chads hook up with them for fun, reinforcing their belief that they deserve the best. As a result, Most men are left competing for less attractive women, which they often aren't interested in. Over time, many women settle for someone outside that top 20%, but they feel like they've settled and eventually leave, taking a chunk of the man's assets, child support and alimony. The top 20% of men rarely marry, and if they do, they're often the ones who leave. The harsh financial and emotional fallout from failed relationships is making men more reluctant to commit or even interact with women. Men are realizing the game is stacked against them.
Thing is, women don't understand how many men actually don't mind providing for them, and how many men want a serious, committed relationship. But where are all the good men? They're just waiting for a woman who's worth providing.
All right, let's break it down. We've got entire generations of young men who have watched their fathers, grandfathers, and other men get treated like garbage, discarded, disrespected, and abused by a system that sees them as nothing more than disposable tools. These guys have been dealing with this nonsense from the moment they stepped foot into kindergarten, facing discrimination, slander, and a society that paints them as dangerous and violent, even though they've done nothing wrong. So what did women and society expect? How did they think these young men would react to a world that's openly hostile towards them? And now they're shocked that men are walking away from dating in this gynocentric society. It's either completely clueless or the highest form of hypocrisy. The system is rigged, and men are done playing the game.